Just thought I'd do a live stream with you guys on the road trip. I'm in Nash County, Tennessee, and we are headed to Texas. Well, first we're going to South Carolina. We're going to visit Michael. He has got a paper called The Standard in South Carolina. I think it's thestandardsc.com. And he's going to come along the road trip with MustangMedic, aka me, and we are going to interview people in Texas. So I just thought, let's just see a little piece of just a simple road trip right now, going down the road. Of course, I'm in a Mustang. It's appropriate, right? It looks like we are going to have an opportunity possibly to interview somebody that's dealing with being right on the border. Now, the border is a big place on Texas, a lot of miles. So I'm going to see if I can get an interview with her of her experience, because she's had a lot of people just basically hanging out on her front lawn, apparently, coming from Mexico. Because from what I understand, most of the mainstream media is saying that this is not a crisis on the border. There's no crisis. There's nothing going on. Even with 750% capacity, holding kids after 7 days, when they can only legally do it for 3 days, you can only imagine what it would be like if President Trump was serving his second term. I know a lot of you think that right now at the moment President Trump's in control, and we don't have any, I don't have evidence of that yet, but I'm working on it. So I don't want to propagate any rumors. But there's also a possibility, I heard, that President Trump runs for Senate during the midterms and becomes Speaker of the House, or not Speaker of the House, head of the Senate, and would be in Nancy Pelosi's position. Wouldn't that be amazing? Somebody told me that possibility. After this road trip, probably going to be in DC for a couple of weeks, watching things come down. Now they're getting settled in with MustangMedic HQ. We're going to look into finally getting those press credentials. A friend of mine who's going to remain nameless, who has a very large following, tried and got rejected. I'm going to give it a shot. We'll see what happens for certain press credentials. But I am going to work very hard on giving you a view from the inside of Washington, D.C., not just the outside, although I have gotten a lot of inside stuff. I did speak to a National Guardsman, who of course became a source and will not be reported because I don't report my sources. But the rest of the fencing is going to be coming down. He did say that the fence right up against the Capitol, real close to the Capitol, it's going to take a long time for that to come down. That's what he said. But military source said that all that fencing is coming down. If you didn't see the video, I did a breaking news story yesterday on getting inside the fence. It was pretty cool. So watch that if you haven't seen it. Again, I appreciate all the support you guys have been doing with me in DC. And I appreciate the donations for this trip. I think we got like $250 or $300. Our goal is $1,500. That's what it's probably going to cost. About 4 hotel stays, fuel, possible rent a car, and Michael and his friend are coming along and ride with me, and we're doing it together because he's a newspaper guy. All the news that's fit to print. Remember that? Newspapers. He's still doing a newspaper, and it's called The Standard, and it's in South Carolina. So I'm meeting up with him today. And then we hit the road again in the morning to get to Texas. Working on an interview with a mayor. There's a possibility of that. And from what I understand, the governor of Texas is going to be near, well, I'll tell you the destination we're heading for. We are heading for McAllen, Texas. McAllen, Texas. And we're going to interview people and their experiences in Texas, just to find out if it's media spin that there's no crisis at the border. But all evidence seems to be pointing that there is a crisis, and the media is just choosing to make believe that there's no crisis protecting the Biden administration, which is just amazing that they're taking that spin. But we'll see. Personally, I think we're going to be proving them wrong, what the mainstream media is doing via MustangMedic. That's the goal. Not to prove them wrong, but simply to find the truth. Still driving a manual. If you're a sports car guy, manual's the only way to go, in my opinion. Road work. I use Waze, W-A-Z-E, for navigation. And the reason I do that is because it gives you road reports. Everybody that's driving down the road sees something going on, sees a road hazard, a police officer, and it gives you a heads up as you're going, which gives you, it helps you relax when you're doing road trips. Let me just say it that way. Beautiful day. It's warm, it's sunny, roads are clear. I started the road trip at 3:30 in the morning because that's when I wake up now. I guess I'm just like President Trump. I'm not sleeping very much, but God motivates me to get up and knocks me out around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I can't stay awake. I'm driving a 2000 Mustang. It's a 3.8, which is a V6. It's a stick. I've got the amplifier wired into the Bluetooth. So I basically control my music the whole way. And this is about, I guess, a 7-hour road trip, which is basically 10 albums. Remember when they used to have albums? Now it's all streaming. I sound old when I say that, don't I? Did I erase somebody? There was a Mustang. I did see an S550, which is a 6th gen Mustang, the latest body style. I kind of like went by him quickly and he didn't chase me. Probably a V6. But beautiful country out here in Virginia. You guys aren't in the mood to talk, are you? Usually I see you guys having multiple conversations about politics. Of course we're going back to DC. I live in DC. Am I going back to DC? Yeah, this is just like, I'm just going to get some interviews and just get some intel on the ground. I'm going to be doing traveling, guys. I told you as I was getting established in DC, which we are now. We official residents of DC as of about 3.5 weeks ago. Did the hotel stay from January 6th for like 2 months at a hotel. And we found a place, got approved, and my daughters and I are tucked in, if you would, how to say it. The studio, MustangMedic HQ, is getting set up. I got the desk and a computer, and I'm gonna have a somewhat large TV screen behind me to show stories. I'm still kind of making sure I stay within the guidelines of the community guidelines of YouTube, because it's their business, and again, Section 220 did not get approved. So, you know, straight up, we're in capitalism. We all click that button that agreed to give up most of our personal information as we search, and they have every right to do it. They're a private business. Google, Alphabet, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, 2 different businesses, but that's what they can do right now. No matter how upset we get, they have the right to do that. They are a private business. So, gotta respect that. Can't cry about it. It's not worth crying about. But I am gonna fight that strike we received, and I'm working on that. I hope you guys saw that Joe Biden video. Will the real Joe Biden please stand up? Take a look at that. That may be one of the things that make you go, And this is it. So I'm gonna probably just pop off, and I just wanted to share with you guys that we're on the road and we're moving. Oh, and I got a story. That's coming up. As I pulled up to a McDonald's, there was like a police action going on, and I caught a video of that. I'm going to air that at 12. I got an interview with a young Asian man on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and I got another interview with a guy dressed up as a superhero who has a message, and a couple other vignette stories. I got about 6 in the can, then I'm just waiting to upload them. I try to do 3 videos a day. That's my goal. And of course, when I get a strike and they take me off, I don't do any videos. And that was a tough 7 days, guys. So, of course, I want to stay independent, which means I need income, which means I need your support. So, you are in a search of truth, and you believe these 3 tenets, I ask you to support MustangMedic. 1, we can all listen to each other. 2, we can respectfully disagree and walk away with respect of the other person's point of view, whether we agree with it or not. And 3, which I always say sounds like a Beatles song, we can love one another and uplift each other. And ultimately, you feel better about yourself when you compliment people, because people enjoy seeing you. It's fun to uplift people, and we just gotta love one another. We gotta remember those things. We seem to have forgotten them in this polarized environment we're in. And I know I could be using the gimbal. I bought a gimbal about 3 weeks ago, and I'm in such a habit of just grabbing my 12 Pro and just videoing that I can't really set up, because it takes too much time to set up, and a lot of my stuff that I do is spontaneous and one take. I very rarely set up an interview unless a person that I'm interviewing wants to be. Oh, I've got about 4 or 5 interviews lined up also. They're gonna be probably Zoom calls, because we can have the talking heads in the boxes. But there's some people in Florida, a gentleman that stood up with his megaphone and spoke to police officers. Cordy is going to be getting interviewed. He's committed to an interview. And also Sandra, who worked for CNN and Al Jazeera in the past, and she's got a lot of opinions, and I'll try to get a word in edgewise. Sorry, Sandra, but you know it's true. All right, I'll turn around the camera briefly, and then I'll just sign off here. Just a quick live stream, road tripping to first South Carolina, and then ultimately to Texas to find out if there's a crisis on the ground in Texas. I think there is. The mainstream media seems to be reporting that it's not a crisis, but I think they're just covering for the Biden administration. That's what I think. What do you think? All right, guys. Have a good one. God bless.